AJ104 The Jaguar Environment, Part 2, by Jaguar Cars Inc. Welcome to these revived training modules. If the module has supplemental diagrams or information, these materials are included at the end of the video, where you can halt and screen print if you wish. Please note that these training materials were recovered from audio tapes and slides stored for more than 30 years. The quality has suffered on some modules, and we apologize. Jaguar Clubs of North America and Coventry Foundation thank you for your support.
Jaguar Cars Incorporated presents the Jaguar Environment, Part 2. The air of opulence provided by both the XJ6 and XJS Jaguars is second to none. The occupants are surrounded by a superb blending of tradition with modern technical and convenience features. This environment is made possible by the numerous custom and hand operations used during the construction of the vehicle. Throughout the life of the car, the occupants will put this environment under constant scrutiny. Any abnormal sounds, such as squeaks, rattles, and knocks, will be sensed immediately and distract from the usually pleasant experience of operating a Jaguar car. This Part 2 Performance Masters program will identify potential sources of abnormal sounds, review corrective actions, and illustrate service operations related to correcting noise-causing problems. Your attention is called to Part 1 of this series, in which we covered vehicle aerodynamics and the associated problems with wind, air, and moisture leakage. In the past several years, customer complaints of squeaks, rattles, and knocks have reduced dramatically. This is due to the new spirit and extra effort being made at the factory to ensure tight quality control. However, over the life of a vehicle, many conditions arise which contribute to the possibility of annoying extraneous noise occurring. We'll start this program by considering some of the general causes of abnormal sounds which can emanate from many sources. Incomplete, incorrect, or misaligned collision damage repair is an obvious source of abnormal sounds. This includes body fittings and components which are incorrectly aligned, suspension components with distorted attach points, and the exhaust system, which must be accurately positioned to prevent annoying knocks. Road hazard damage is another obvious source of abnormal sounds. Deformation and movement of components often results in reduced clearance. This is particularly true of the exhaust system. Excessive wear results in excessive clearance in the fitting of many components, which in turn can result in occasional knocking sounds. Suspension systems are very susceptible to this condition. The loosening of components and fasteners is another problem that allows movement, resulting in rattles and creaks. Occupants are made very aware of this condition when interior fittings and trim are loose. Incorrect installation and adjustment is another problem area. Inadequate clearance can result in contact, which makes itself known audibly. Doors, windows, and their components are ideal candidates for this condition, as is the sunroof. Through experience, specific areas on both the XJ6 and the XJS have been identified as potential sources of sound-related problems. These will be discussed along with the corrective actions to eliminate the problem. Starting at the front of the car, the hood springs of XJ6 models can scrape the inner fender. If this occurs, reposition the spring bracket to allow sufficient clearance. Also under the hood, both stabilizer bars should be checked for looseness and tightened as necessary. In the trunk, the spare wheel, toolkit, and any additional contents should be properly secured to prevent rattles. On XJS models, the trunk lid torsion bars may require realignment to eliminate noise-causing contact. Under the car on both models, the exhaust system requires careful attention. The rear muffler to heat shield clearance must be adequate to prevent contact. This requires a minimum of 3/4 of an inch all around. The tailpipe to bumper clearance must also be adequate to prevent contact. Over the rear axle, the tailpipe flange should not be allowed to contact the axle cage. Provide enough clearance to allow for system vibration. Excessive wear in suspension components can produce intermittent knocks and rattles, which will be most evident on rough and irregular surfaces. The front shock absorber bushings should be checked for wear, which will allow knocking. Wear in the lower ball joints may produce noise only on rough roads. The anti-roll bar bushings are also prone to noise making if worn excessively. Remember that early XJS models incorporated an anti-roll bar in the rear suspension. On XJ6 models, the fume baffles located just forward of the fuel tanks may require repositioning and sealing to eliminate creaks. Access to this area is gained through the fuel filler opening or, if necessary, by removing the fuel tank. Creaks can emanate from the door and glass areas of XJ6 models. Attention should be given to the top of the BC post where it connects with the roof panels. Any cracks or separation occurring in this area must be welded and refinished. Noise can also be created by panel separation at the top of the A post where it is joined with the roof panel. If necessary, the seam should be closed by welding. The rear shelf metal panel joint at the D post should also be checked for cracks or separation. If any exist, welding is again required. When making these repairs, use extreme caution to prevent damage to interior appointments and exterior finish. The XJ6 windshield and rear window can produce abnormal sounds in 3 different ways. First, the finishers can produce abnormal sounds by contacting the body or glass. Discoloration on the finish in the area of the rubber seal is evidence of this condition. When installed correctly, sufficient clearance will be provided to prevent this from occurring. The condition can be confirmed by removing the finishers and road testing the car to see if the noise has been eliminated. Improper installation of the windshield and the rear window, which allows movement of the glass, can also cause noise when the glass contacts the body flange. If sealing is required, use urethane sealer as described in Service Bulletin J839. One additional possibility of windshield-associated noise is the separation of the spot welds around the opening flange. If necessary, spot welds should be applied to secure the panels at the flange. Specific instructions for carrying out the fume baffle and glass area repairs are contained in Service Bulletin J8415. As we said, noise emanating from the interior of the car will be the most noticeable and the most annoying to the driver and the occupants. At the base of the windshield, the crash roll may occasionally contact the dashboard or the windshield. Realign or add a black foam strip as necessary. The plastic shroud incorporating the ignition switch and the lighting switch at the steering column may create a squeaking sound if positioned incorrectly. Poor attachment of the rear seat back may also create unusual noise. Be sure all 3 hooks are properly engaged to prevent this. The seatbelt anchor bolts should periodically be checked for security. Looseness not only creates annoying noise, it also creates a safety hazard. The fit and security of the inner door components should be assured after any disassembly. Rattles can occur if the interior panel hooks are not correctly engaged with the door casings. It may be necessary to add foam strips if the panel has been removed several times. The door pull hook on XJS models must also be securely engaged to prevent rattles. Again, add foam to prevent noise-causing movement. Inside the door, the lock rods can make contact with each other or the door frame if they have been dislodged from their retainers. Reposition and refit as necessary to obtain correct alignment and correct lock operation. The front seat runners on XJ6 models may loosen, causing excessive movement and creating noise. Refer to Service Bulletin J847 for details of the rectification procedure. The sunroof area, being so close to the driver and the front passenger, must be free from any unusual noise. A tapping noise can occur if the sunroof sliding panel cable attach brackets have excessive movement. These should be tightened just enough to prevent up and down movement while allowing adequate clearance for proper operation. Misaligned or slack cables can also cause rattles. Carefully route the cables and ensure that all securing brackets are in place. Vertical and horizontal alignment of the sunroof panel in the roof opening can be accomplished only by removing the headliner. The sunroof assembly is attached to the roof of the car at 6 places, 3 each side. These attach points provide for vertical and horizontal adjustment. Start making an adjustment by loosening all the attaching hardware. Establish the up and down position first, then tighten the 3 bolts on each bracket. Next, establish the side-to-side and fore-aft positioning, then tighten the single nut on each bracket. Recheck the fit in all directions and make further adjustments as necessary. If the cables are being replaced, be sure they are fitted with the right side cable going to the top of the motor. If this is not done, the sunroof operation will be reversed. Final adjustment to the sunroof is made by positioning the ramping blocks as described in Service Bulletin J8242. The information provided in this program will assist the Jaguar technician in locating and identifying the sources of sound-related problems. The elimination of any abnormal sounds can only enhance the feeling of refined elegance Jaguar owners expect. A complete listing of the areas shown in this program is contained on the accompanying reference card. This completes the Jaguar Environment Part 2, another Performance Masters Service Training Program.
Revived by the Jaguar Clubs of North America, JCNA, and the Coventry Foundation. Please note all special tools shown here, apart from the Sun Workstation, are available under the JCNA Coventry Foundation Member Tool Loan Program. Please see www.jcna.com and coventryfoundation.org. Thank you.